Okay, guys, today we are going to go over Sonic 06 and about a particular character. His name is Mephiles. I know people try to say he was like pretty strong in that game or whatever you want to call it. Like, oh, he was like a threat to Shadow, Sonic, whatever you want to say about that. But I just can't see the same thing. I just can't see the same thing about him. It's just like he kind of doesn't do anything and he falls apart when you really dig into like his showings. We'll start off with Shadow versus Mephiles inside the cave or whatever that stage was. But inside that cave stage, now people try to bring this up as like a superiority for Mephiles due to the Prima guides. Again, the Prima guides this is the only thing that people use nowadays. But yeah, the Prima gods stated that Mephiles was too much for Shadow and Shadow got tired in between. But that doesn't really follow in the game because Shadow was actually hurting Mephiles in the first phase. During the dialogue, you'll see Mephiles going, Shadow, you, and it's like, ah, taking damage, as in that's hurting him. And even in cutscene, in between phases, Mephiles is on the ground, and the only real kind of advantage he somewhat gets is when he hits Shadow with a blast while on his knees. I don't know. This just seems like more of a surprise attack to me than really anything. But it's also again kind of weird that Mephiles would be Shadow level when he got downed by Shadow literally just then, right? Because why wouldn't he be able to beat Shadow in the cutscene if that was the case, right? If he was superior, and it just seems to show that he had to rely on a surprise attack to get Shadow on his on the edge. It seems like he had to rely on a surprise attack to get Shadow even down. So again, I don't see what's the really big showing of Mephiles here. Following this, again, we'll go back to the Prima guides. They try to make it seem like again Shadow's tired in between, but if you again play through the Shadow story, Shadow is shown in the cutscene with Omega standing over Mephiles, and it seems like he was participating in battle. So it's just weird that they would try to write it off as Shadow was tired because that doesn't even seem supported in the actual game. So it just seems like another Prima God being inconsistent, which is surprising, right? Prima Gods being inconsistent, no way, that couldn't be true, right, guys, right? But anyway, yeah, Mephiles isn't superior at all here. He doesn't seem to get anyone or do anything without an off guard without a surprise, not an off guard, but you get the idea. Moving on, though, we'll go to the beach section where Omega is approached by Mephiles, and Omega is shooting at him, shooting at Mephiles multiple times. It's just berating this man with bullets, and people try to take this away as Omega is somehow inferior to Mephiles because he's not I don't know. Actually, I don't know why this argument is. It's just more they think that Mephiles is tanking the bullets, but if you listen to the sounds of what Mephiles makes after getting shot, he is actually seems like he's groaning in pain. So it's not him tanking the bullets. It's not a really upskill for him anyway. Because again, we already established that the cave instance had Shadow superior, and Omega in the second phase was also with Shadow, and they just beat him again. It's where's the impressive showing from him? But so yeah, so the beach instance was just him getting shot at and taunting Omega. Again, I don't know. There's nothing really implying a superiority thing there. I don't know. It's even he's still not tanking Omega's attacks. So obviously it's not a upskill for his durability, blah, blah, blah. But moving on, past the beach instance, we move on to the Shadow, Rouge, and Omega fight. And in this fight, Mephiles is amped with 2 Chaos Emeralds, which we literally see. Visually, we see this in the cutscene. And he also tries to bargain with Shadow, join my side or whatever. And Shadow denies it. And he says, okay, I'm just gonna kill you. So he has intent to kill here. And also people try to try to maybe make a, if you want to make a case for well, Mephiles was holding back in the first round with Shadow. But it's I don't see a reason for why not. Because in that fight, if you again pay attention to the dialogue, he was trying to he was trying to put Shadow in his place. So he was trying to at least take out Shadow to where he could stun him or be superior. So his combative abilities being nerfed in that fight doesn't make a lot of sense if his intent is to just like embarrass Shadow or like put him in his place, right? You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, going back to the cape instance, yeah. So this is an Ant Mephiles first of all. So an Ant Mephiles lost to Shadow, Rouge, and Omega. That's not a good showing. He has to be anti-chaos emerald. Like this is the thing. Mephiles throughout the story, like halfway through, is just Ant with Chaos Emerald. He had the green and yellow. He had the purple one. So throughout the game, you'll notice halfway through, Mephiles just can just like gets amped by Chaos Emeralds, like by the halfway point of like Shadow Story, or like the near end of like Shadow Story. It's just like he's amped. It's just like this is the stuff that people try to shit on Shadow for, that he's amped with Chaos Emeralds. He's a Chaos Emerald merchant. But then you have Shadow dealing with Mephiles on his own, on top of Mephiles having to rely on Chaos Emeralds throughout the almost the entire story. So it's like, where's the hate for Mephiles? Because this dude can't do shit without him. And another showing, just to back this up, when Mephiles goes to kill Sonic, he uses the Chaos Emerald, the purple Chaos Emerald, to like distract Elise and Sonic, like making them blind. So he's using the Chaos Emerald there too. And keep in mind, he would still have the green and yellow Chaos Emerald during that time. So he's still going to be Ant regardless, because he's still like seemingly drawing power from these things or using them. So during that time, he like sneaks Sonic, and people try to like, again, people try to upscale Mephiles off this, but this just seems he's amped. Like this doesn't seem like an impressive showing at all. Anyway. And it's also like, why is beating an off guard Sonic impressive? Because by this logic, wouldn't we upscale like people like Metal Sonic off guarding Sonic in the IDW comics, or every other instance of Sonic being off guarded and one shotted? Why don't we upscale those people, since apparently that's so impressive? But no, we're just gonna make an excuse for Mephiles being somewhat decent because of it. But yeah, moving on. The Prima Gods just seem inconsistent with what shows in the game, so you can't use that to upscale him. He loses the base Shadow, so it doesn't even seem like he can beat Silver, because if base Shadow can beat Mephiles, then why can't Silver do the same thing? So it's a Silver victim. So that's even worse. If you like think that Silver is somehow impressive nowadays, and then you have Mephiles just losing to him, it's just okay. Yeah, so nothing in this game like really upscales him without Chaos Emerald amps. And it's just like kind of ridiculous, because again, the same people that shit on Shadow will glaze Mephiles back and forth like he was the coolest guy back in the day, but he's kind of a loser, kind of a goon. Shadow without his inhibitor rings in the cave just like one-shot tons of Mephiles. And they were amped by 2 Chaos Emeralds during that time. So, and he just like destroyed all his Mephiles clones, and he got the Chaos Emeralds back. So it's just like Mephiles can't do anything with the Chaos Emeralds, and let alone himself. So even with the Chaos Emeralds, he's useless. Which is even worse, because Shadow with Chaos Emeralds can actually do something. So, hey, there's enough skill for Shadow anyway. Another thing to back up why Mephiles wouldn't hold back against Shadow, or at least, like, according to him, he wants to kill Shadow for sealing him. Like, verbatim, he says, "You're deaf, certain you will die." Like, this is Mephiles getting sealed by Shadow, and he's obviously, like, pretty unhappy about it, you know? So it seems like Shadow would be on his, like, hit list for, like, sealing it up, right? So it's just like, why would he hold back himself from, like, you know, defeating Shadow, or at least getting what he wanted, which is to kill him? But yeah, Mephiles just kind of seems like a fraud. Like, even worse than Metal Sonic. Like, to be honest with you, he just has nothing going for him. The statements don't help him. The game doesn't help him, and that's really all he has. So that's about it. Yeah. See you.